Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Orth. I'm the Supervisory Senior Resident Agent for the FBI offices in Yakima and Tri-Cities. Thank you for joining us. The media is very important and plays a very important role in the ability of law enforcement to push information out to our communities. So thank you for helping us spread the word. At this time, the FBI is conducting a grid search operation today and tomorrow near the Rock Island campground. But I want to be clear that currently we have no evidence that Travis Decker is alive or dead. But we are conducting a grid search operation over the next 2 days. It's currently taking place right now. We hope to find evidence that will lead us to Travis Decker or any information regarding the murder of his 3 daughters. By thoroughly searching and documenting the area, we can help prevent the need to review the area in the future by collecting all possible evidence. Today there are nearly 100 FBI and partner agencies personnel on the ground to participate in this search operation. We have specialty teams from the federal government and local partner agencies all deployed here today and tomorrow for this operation. For almost 3 months, the investigators, led by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, have carefully followed hundreds of tips regarding the search for Travis Decker in this investigation. It's taken us over rough terrain, difficult areas, multiple states, remote locations that are inaccessible. The residents and visitors of Chelan County know very well that these areas are covered with vast dirt roads that stretch for miles, no cell phone service, and many other challenges. That effort gets more difficult as time goes on. The elements vary, carry away, erode the very items that we're looking to seek and capture for the investigation. Our search teams today are out in 90+ degree weather trying to gather all this evidence. FBI Seattle wants to assure the communities in Leavenworth and Wenatchee, as well as Chelan County and Washington State, that this case is a priority for the FBI. That is why we're here today. This is a beautiful area in which a heinous crime occurred. We are here to seek justice for Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. We are here to find answers for their family, friends, and the community. And we are here to hopefully provide some measure of closure to their loved ones in this senseless tragedy. We want to thank all the hikers, campers, and the community for their patience as we had to close down a very popular area for recreation. I would ask people that were inconvenienced by this to consider themselves indirect contributors to the search operation. To the community, if you find any information that you think is helpful to this investigation, we're directing you to the U.S. Marshals tip line. Please report any information you feel is appropriate for the investigators to the U.S. Marshals. And Sheriff Morrison has some comments.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here again. I just want to publicly recognize Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia again. We have not forgotten about them. We still send our thoughts and prayers up to them. We're thinking of their family during this time. But more importantly, I just want to say thanks to the Seattle office of the FBI and all the partnering offices that have also come out to support this current operation. We've made it very clear over the last 3 months that we have not given up. We've continued to track down leads. Our investigative unit continues to follow up on evidence that's coming back from the Washington State Patrol. We thank Chief Batiste and his agency for, again, being a valuable partner. You see them out there again today. I'd also like to thank the U.S. Marshals Service for also being out with us during our search. I'd also like to thank the Yakima County Sheriff's Office, the Yakima Police Department, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, and our agency for being out there, along with the U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division, and Central Washington University's Anthropology Department. Again, we recognize Chelan County Sheriff's Office as a medium-sized agency. We couldn't do this investigation on our own without our partners coming alongside of us, providing us the resources we need in order to give the kind of investigation that these 3 young girls deserve, their family deserves, and more likely that our community also deserves. We want to bring closure. We want to bring answers. We understand the frustration. We're feeling it as well. It's been 3 months. We would love to have Travis Decker in custody, standing in front of a judge. We recognize that at times these kind of investigations take time. It's going to take perseverance, and as we saw with our partners in Okanagan County Sheriff's Office, after 3 years they were able to track down their homicide suspect, unfortunately deceased, in a homeless camp in Spokane. We recognize that those are the kind of outcomes that do come over time. So it's going to take patience, understanding from our community. Again, we appreciate Whitney, her family, the girls' families and friends for being patient and understanding with the Sheriff's Office, and being understanding that our partners are doing anything and everything possible to do a thorough investigation, following up on all leads, and not limiting any kind of resources that are available. I appreciate the funding that's come in to allow this kind of operation to take place today. You've seen this over the last several months with our partnering and neighboring agencies, not only nationally within the state, but also internationally, that have followed up on leads on our behalf. Again, the Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Chelan County are appreciative. We'll continue to be appreciative, but again, we will not relent, we will not give up until this investigation is concluded and that Travis is accounted for and or taken into custody. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here, showing support for us, and we'll take any questions you may have.
Sheriff Michelle Esteban from Someone News.
Yes,
Could
ma'am.
you be specific about why this is such a targeted location? It seems to be site-specific. What has led investigators here?
Absolutely. So this is the primary area where the initial crime took place. We've had our agents, our investigators, along with the U.S. Marshals Service and our volunteer search and rescue team that did a thorough grid search around the initial campsite. We had our investigators embedded in with that process. The FBI is now following up behind to expand that out. Based off the information that we've received back from behavioral analysis on a possible outcome of how this may have gone or where Travis may have gone, we wanted to expand our efforts out. And further, we wanted to support and provide a solid foundation for our investigation and what areas we have searched for future investigators when they come on scene if we haven't settled this or found Travis in the next couple of years. But it's going to take us some time, and we're going to continue to do a thorough search and continue to expand out around the initial crime scene to ensure we didn't miss anything. I believe we did a thorough search initially, but again, when we come back with new technology, more resources, more personnel, that allows us to better document what we have covered for future investigations.
And Sheriff Morrison, Brady Wakayama with King 5 News. How did you folks decide on the time, on how long you plan on being out here? Just 2 days rather than a week, or less time or more time? Why is it only just 2 days, I guess?
Based off the resources we had, and again, I'll let the FBI follow up further as they're the ones leading this investigation and the follow-up operation. It seemed appropriate with the amount of ground we were trying to cover, and again, we're mapping it out. If we need to expand further, I understand that they can take more time to expand out, but again, we've agreed on those 2 days. We'll reassess once that time frame comes to an end.
And how much ground are we trying to cover over the next 2 days?
As I understand it, we're going about a quarter-mile radius around the campsite. If we need to expand out further, we will. Based off investigations and follow-up we've done with the U.S. Marshal's Office, looking into similar cases, we found that historically and typically you found the homicide suspect and those responsible within a quarter mile of the scene, either alive and or deceased.
Is there any new evidence that you've uncovered that you can share with us that led you to this location?
No, again, it's just due diligence, making sure that we're checking our boxes and doing everything we can to best map it out in the future in case there comes a time where I'm not in office or our investigators aren't in office. It's well documented, there's a well-established history. Anyone can pick up where we left off. We saw this with the Green River Killer case that started in the early 80s, expanded out in the early 2000s. I can tell you that a lot of the investigators that were assigned to that case had long since retired. Once he was taken into custody, again, we want to lay that kind of foundation in case our investigation goes that long. But we remain committed and going to make sure that we do a thorough job.
Sheriff, are you guys still using the air resources as well, or is this all for search today and tomorrow?
This is all ground, but we do have air resources if we need to call them back in. And we appreciate the FBI for taking point on that. We also appreciate Spokane Police Department that brought their drone unit before. We've had our drone unit out, along with Spokane County, Snohomish County, King County, our air units, and Washington State Patrol's fixed wing. So we know if we have to call upon them, they will be available, but at this time we understand that getting boots on the ground and into the thicker brush is probably our best point leading forward.
Sheriff, is there kind of a rush to get out here and possibly try to get things settled? I know that you're closing for the next 2 days, but Memorial or the next holiday is right around the corner. Do you guys foresee maybe taking the rest of the week, expanding into other areas, or is this just going to happen over the next few days and then we're just going to wrap up before the holiday?
We've never been rushed. So this is an investigation looking into the homicide of 3 young girls. If it requires us to expand our time out on the ground further, we'll do so. We're going to start off with 2 days. We understand that they're limited resources. These are taxpayer dollars that we're utilizing. We're not going to be wasteful with them, but we're going to make sure to be thorough. If we need to go out to the end of the week, we will. The holiday weekend is not going to obstruct our investigation or slow us down. We understand that it may be an inconvenience for those who want to come here and recreate. We are a tourist destination. We recognize that, but we're also 2,900 plus square miles. There's other places to camp. We appreciate the community support, those visitors' support, and we understand this does present an inconvenience, but there are a lot of other areas where you still can recreate, camp here within our county, we welcome you, but for the time being, that area is closed for operations, and if we need to expand out, we will, but we've never been in a hurry. We're going to be thorough, we're going to be detailed, because justice remains on it. So it depends on us. We want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to present a strong case when we get to court.
And Sheriff, you may have mentioned this before, but what additional resources are in this search versus previous ones? What's the difference?
I'll allow the FBI to expand out more on what they've brought to the table, but I can tell you just the resources available from the units that are coming in. I've cited the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI. This is the first time that I've seen the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division on the ground too. We've had electronic sniffing dogs, we've had specialists in different fields. So we're just expanding out with what we have available through the criminal justice system, and that's not available to the Sheriff's Office. And again, we couldn't do this without the FBI's support, and we're grateful for that.
You might be repeating yourself, but would you mind just sort of emphasizing what role the FBI will play and how they're going to take the lead in this search and why?
They are the leads in this search. They're the ones that put forth the personnel, the funding, the coordination, the logistics. Again, we thank them. We appreciate them coming all the way over here and doing this. We understand what kind of a time consumption this is, what a resource consumption this is. Again, we could not do this without our federal partners. We're thankful for our federal partners, FBI, U.S. Marshals, Homeland Security Investigation. We've had Border Patrol out here assisting us as well. Just thankful for our federal partners, our local partners, our state partners, and we'll continue to work with them as best we can.
Can you talk a little bit about, I mean, the slightly emotional side? You know, it has been almost 3 months to the day at this point. We're still looking. This is still something that people think about every day in some households. Can you talk a little bit about maybe if it's a little bit defeating to still be doing this today?
It's not defeating for us. We don't give up. We understand that the girls would not want us to give up, but I did talk with Whitney last night over the phone. I get her frustration. Of course, she wants the kind of closure where we can locate Travis and bring him to justice. And we also understand that our community is frustrated. We hear the comments back from the community as well saying, why haven't you guys found him yet? And of course, bringing up suggestions, we hear you. We're trying our best. We're doing what we can with the resources we have. We don't get frustrated though. We're not going to give up. We understand this could take years, and we'll be here. If it's not me wearing this uniform, it'll be another Chelan County Sheriff's deputy. It'll be another FBI agent. It'll be another U.S. Marshal. This is not going to go away till Travis is located. And again, we're going to continue to persevere, grind on, and we will find him in one fashion or the other.
Can you speak a little bit?
Current award that the U.S. Marshal Service is offering is $20,000, and I know I've heard calls from the public, why don't you raise that amount? Again, we don't control that. We appreciate the U.S. Marshals for putting in the work that they have, having Travis be in the spotlight that he is in, and also the funds that have been made available to turn him in. I don't think there's anything saying that members of the public couldn't come up with their own funds to offer up, but again, I would tread lightly in there because fraud is a real thing. But again, we're pursuing forward with justice. We hope that individuals do take the award as a serious offer, and we'll continue to work with the Marshal Service. If we're able to get additional funding, we're grateful for that as well.
Can you speak a little bit to, I know we've talked about the terrain extensively, his military training, but what is the likelihood with the type of weather we've experienced that Travis Decker is alive at this point?
We'd never presume that he's alive or dead until he's accounted for or found in one fashion or the other. I've said it before, I don't believe he's special in any way. He was part of the military. I appreciate his service. Right now, he's a criminal at large. He's wanted for murder and kidnapping. We have other individuals on the ground that are more trained. Our instructors in this field are actual survivalists, and I feel like we have the right members on our team, and he's got a lot of people hunting against him. I've said it before, he's got to be perfect every single day. We just have to be perfect once, and if he is still alive, I got to imagine he's pretty tired by now. But we understand the likelihood that there could be a potential that he is deceased, but until we find him, alive or dead, we're going to continue to search.
Question for Agent Orth, if I could.
Sir.
The question was asked, sir, about resources. Jefferson Robbins of NCW Live TV. The question was asked about FBI resources, and I know this is characterized as a grid search, but can you say anything about the people involved in the grid search? Are there people with specialties, special skills that you wanted to have for this operation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we brought in people with specialty skills. The FBI maintains what's called the evidence response team. We have many of those individuals embedded with the teams. We have members of the FBI SWAT team embedded with each of the search teams that are out there. And to be clear, there are a number of search teams that are searching this area. It's not one big team moving around. It's several smaller teams. So we have those experts there. We have experts from outside agencies that are here. So any We have electronics experts currently on the ground right now at the Rock Island Campground. So any possible investigative or search personnel that would bring an expertise to the table, they are here today.
The notice of the closure of the Forest Service area came out on Friday. How far in advance was this operation planned?
It's something we've been discussing for a while. It takes a long time to put this many resources, 100 people together with the right expertise in the same place at the same time. We also didn't want to, impact the public unduly because this is such a popular area. So I would just say weeks and weeks. This has been in the works. Maybe actually more than that.
Were you counting on this weather?
We'll take it. We'll take it.
And once more, when do you guys plan on reopening this area? Obviously, as we discuss, potentially 2 days to start, potentially longer, but what about now, currently?
So right now, the game plan is for the area to be reopened Tuesday evening to the public. If we will change that if something during the search dictates that we need to. But at this point, it will be reopened Tuesday evening.
And around what time? Do we have a time?
Yeah,
5 p.m.
The Forest Service websites post a specific time. I believe it's roughly 5 o'clock. The Forest Service website has it for sure.
When we're talking about this search, is it day and night, or are we doing like a 9 to 5 search? What does that look like?
So it's more daylight hours is when we're searching. Even though it's really hot, we're searching daylight hours. We are going to have personnel overnight at the scene, but they will not be conducting the search. But it's daylight hours searching. That gives us the highest probability of spotting something visually, because this is just an old-fashioned ground search. As Sheriff said, boots on the ground, eyeballs looking at the ground. And for anybody who's gone into this area and hiked, they know it's thick and dense. For anybody who's gone into this type of area and bushwhacked, which is what the teams are doing now, they know it's incredibly intense. And so it's just very manpower intensive.
And you say overnight personnel, what's their role in all this? What
Scene
is it?
security. Yeah, the scene is locked down. We don't want people coming in at night, so we have personnel to lock the scene down.
Is it unusual for the FBI to be involved in a search like this, and why or why not?
No, it's not. This is a federal crime. There's a federal warrant out for Travis Decker, and so it's not unusual. The FBI can bring, as we've talked about today, a tremendous amount of resources to these problems. A rural area, remote, no cell phone service. We can bring those resources to the table. We can partner up with our law enforcement partners to be force multipliers. But at the end of the day, there's a federal crime, several federal crimes that have been committed, and so we're shoulder to shoulder with the sheriff's office.
But why now? It's been almost 3 months. You guys have gone over this a few different times. Several agencies have. You've gone back to Rock Island a few times. Why now? Do you think you'll actually find something different?
Well, we have to believe that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being. You can't be too thorough in a search like this. Like I said, it is such incredibly dense vegetation that anybody who walks down one of these trails could walk 10 meters off the trail and no one would ever know they're there. And so by coming in with a very, I would say, sophisticated search operation where everything has been divided up by GPS coordinates, responsibilities have been divided up very specifically. It's going to be documented electronically and visually what ground has been searched, what's been cleared, so that potentially future teams that come in don't need to go over the same area.
Is there a fear that it's too late? I mean, there's been campers there. There's been people walking through that area. Evidence snuffed all over potentially. Is it too late?
No, it's never too late to go look for evidence. So no, we don't feel that way.
So I just want to be clear, is there a break in the case here? Does that have anything to do with why you're targeting this area? Or is it what I'm hearing? We just need to be abundantly thorough and cover that grid, which we know we can do in 2 days.
We need to be abundantly thorough and cover that grid very, very thoroughly, because the overgrowth, things on the ground get grown over very quickly. So we just want to be very thorough. There is no break in the case, to use your term.
And the equipment they're going to be using, is this just like machetes? I mean, are they bushwhacking through?
So there's
Is there any heavy equipment?
nothing
Is
special.
that terrain
So
camp?
we have communications equipment back there because there's no cell phone service at all, but we have communications equipment back there so teams can be connected with our resources at FBI headquarters, outside resources if we need to bring additional things in, so the sheriff's office and the FBI can speak. But really, it is old-fashioned hard work, people walking through the woods, looking at the ground within sight of each other, not missing a single square foot to make sure that this area that we were responsible for has been cleared and there's nothing of interest here. We need to now look somewhere else.
Kevin Teeter, KHQ-TV. Are you confident that 2 days is enough to cover this, quarter-mile radius beyond the campground?
Yeah, as of now, this is the right amount of time. We may actually be able to expand outside the quarter mile depending on how the search teams do this afternoon and tomorrow. We may actually go further out than what we initially intended. So,
And I suspect, I don't want to assume that you agree with the sheriff that historically, when you look at other cases, perhaps that are somewhat similar, oftentimes you may find your suspect within that radius.
Yep.
Do you believe that? And,
Yeah.
and is that why? Just speak to that for a second.
yeah, the FBI believes that too, that, generally in these cases, not all the time, but a good amount of time, what we're looking for is not vastly different than the area where the crime occurred. So that is why we've centered our search operation today on where the crime occurred.
Does anybody think he's got any sort of help?
We're open to all possibilities.
Is there a water element to this search? Or the river's been searched once or twice. Sheriff Morrison was on one of those searches. This time around too?
Sheriff, you want to speak to the water source? The FBI has a team up there right now from the Spokane County Sheriff's Office that's evaluating the area, but I don't believe they're in the water today.
So we brought Spokane County Sheriff's Office's dive team in. There were certain areas that our Swiftwater team could not access just because if you're diving underneath log jams. That was an area that we didn't have the equipment for. So Spokane County, thanks to Sheriff Knowles, has offered up their dive team to come in, search areas that we weren't able to get to. They should have their scuba gear, their dive tanks. That's going to allow us to get into areas, again, we weren't able to access, the National Park Service wasn't able to access. But we feel pretty confident with our Swiftwater team being in the water twice now to conduct searches since the water's come down. The National Park Service's Swiftwater Rescue Team been in the water for over 4 days. And now we have Spokane County Sheriff's Office's dive team going in the water too. We feel very confident the water's been covered thoroughly. But again, we'll utilize what resources we have and make sure that we didn't leave any stone unturned.
Taylor Caldwell, Board Media. Beyond the grid search, do you guys have any other specific areas that you're keeping an eye on that are identified?
So for today, the operation is the grid search centering at the Rock Island campground. There are lots of areas that are interesting around here, of course, that a man can travel to on his 2 feet. But today we're just focused on the Rock Island campground area.
I have a question.
Sir.
Scott Hobson with Fox 13. When you're, maybe not this case necessarily, but in your past experience, what kind of clues might you be looking for? Like maybe perps lose ball caps or shoes or something.
Yeah. We're looking for anything interesting that is in the wilderness that would be left there by a person, specifically a man trying to evade law enforcement. So we're looking for anything.
Have there been any recent sightings?
Pardon me?
Are you guys still hearing from tips on that tip line?
Yep.
I'm sure it's died down.
Yeah, absolutely. Tips still come in, and every one of them is evaluated. Like I said, the FBI and partner agencies, the Sheriff's Office, the Marshals have cleared literally hundreds and hundreds of tips. One by one, an agent or an investigator or a team of investigators is clearing each one of those tips. They are still coming in, yes.
Have there been any sightings recently in this area that we might not know of?
Not from the FBI's perspective. I don't know, Sheriff, if you followed up anything recently.
So we've had reported sightings. We've had our partnering agencies, and of course our agency also tracked down. They have not turned out to be Travis, but again, we appreciate the community remaining vigilant, reporting it to us, and again, we're not going to overlook any investigation or tip that comes in. So we get it. Just our most recent sighting that we documented over there in Idaho. Clearly, that did not turn out the way we wanted to, but we appreciated the public again being aware of what was going on. Most recently here, I was talking to the sheriff of King County. It sounded like one of their council members that also viewed someone potentially when they were out hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. King County Sheriff's Office went out and did a follow-up on that. We appreciate it. We know they're spending around 12 hours more, from what I understand, doing a search, following up on that information, but again, it didn't pan out. But we continue to get it. Even today as I was going through my mailbox, we had a couple more potential sightings that came in. We'll forward it back over to our partners with the U.S. Marshals Service and our investigators. But we do have things that we're following up on, and again, we appreciate the public for helping us out.
Sheriff,